Dobra. Kolega siedzi mikrofonem, to już możemy zaczynać. Rozumiem, że już są ludzie przygotowani. To nie mamy co przedłużać. Proszę Państwa, przed Wami Andrew Scott. Do some traveling time with you, your memories, because I remember you also from Saving Private Ryan and the HBO show Band of Brothers. Can you tell us how is it look like on the set? Because the landing in Normandy in Saving Private Ryan is one of the best scenes. So how does it look like from the actor's perspective?
Well, they shot Saving Private Ryan in Southern Ireland, so they auditioned lots of young actors at the time to be part of have one or two lines in the beginning sequence, and so I just auditioned. I think I was about 19 at the time, and it was an extraordinary atmosphere. It's one of the greatest scenes in cinema history, I think. That scene at the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, but I'm hardly in it. I don't even think you can recognize that it's me. It's just lots of mud on his face. But then a couple of years later, I was in what they call the spin-off of Saving Private Ryan, which is Band of Brothers, and I was in one episode of that. But there was a huge amount of actors that are very well known in Band of Brothers that are Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy and Dominic Cooper and Tom Hardy, and so it was a good training ground for a lot of people that we all recognize today.
I heard stories that everything on set was very realistic, that there are not much CGI in those movies.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was any CGI. Yeah, no, there was a boot camp. I wasn't able to go to the boot camp because I was doing a play. But yeah, we all had to carry our weapons around the whole time, and there were no trailers, and they tried to replicate the atmosphere as much as possible. So I'm very proud to be in those things. Yeah, even though I really don't like guns.
What are your memories about Steven Spielberg? How is he as a director?
He was very kind and gracious, and I mean, I was very young at the time, but looking back on it now, I see that he was very gracious and kind, which not all directors are. Sometimes they can be kind of dictators, but he certainly isn't like that. I think he's a very sensitive man. So yeah, I'm very proud to have done that back in the day. It's a long time ago now.
You were one of the soldiers that went to the finish line, or they shot you?
Oh no, I died very early on.
Okay, let's start with the questions. Can we ask for the first one?
Hey there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. So first of all, I'd like to say how happy we all are to have you in Poland again.
Thank you very much. I love being here in Poland. Thank you. I love it here. I love the people here.
And I wanted to say that I really liked what you said yesterday about shy people. And this question is a bit related to that. It's also a bit psychological. I'm wondering, what do you do on your bad days when you feel like everything just is not right? And how do you overcome those dark thoughts?
I think it's important. I like to think of it like weather. I think sometimes it can't be sunny all the time. And I think there's lots of different types of weather. And if it's raining, sometimes you just have to sit inside and wait for the rain to stop. or else walk in the rain or whatever. But there's no point in looking up at the sky and saying, stop raining, stop raining, stop raining, because sometimes we don't have control over that, and I think that's what makes us even more unhappy. So when it does happen, and it happens to all of us, I think it's important to remember that it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be angry and to feel lonely and all those things, because like all weather, it changes. It has to change by its very nature. So just by accepting the fact that we're sometimes unhappy allows us to enjoy when we're feeling the opposite, when we're feeling happy, because we can't recognize good weather if we don't experience bad weather.
Thank you.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey,
Nice to see you again.
nice to see you too.
You're a wonderful actor, and such film as The Stack and Pride is really, really amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So my question is, who was your hero, or who inspired you when you were younger?
Who was my hero when I was younger?
Yeah, or who inspired you?
Well, I was really big into tennis, the sport. So I was really big into all the tennis players back in the day. But I suppose actors, I was saying yesterday actually, Anthony Hopkins was a really big hero of mine, and I've just finished working with him. Finished last week on a film version of King Lear. So he was my big hero growing up. I loved all his films, and I loved his career. He works in the theatre and works in film. So it was incredible to be able to meet him, because I read his biographies, I'd seen all his films, and it was amazing to find out that he's a really great person as well as an astonishing actor. So he was my hero, along with some of the tennis players of the 90s.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And did you learn anything from him, from the experience when you were playing together?
Yeah, he's. I think it's very important for an audience. What I think an audience is really interested in is if the actor is listening or not. And after they say action, no matter what the budget of the film is, it's the actor's moment. So it's your responsibility, I think, to be as playful and to be as engaged in the moment as possible, and to not sort of make a choice beforehand, and to be as free as possible. And he was really extraordinary at just being alive, because acting so much is about listening, because on each take that you do, the other actor could do something completely different, and it's your job to react to that in the same way that we react to each other now. We don't think, oh, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this, and that's I think the most creative and exciting actors to watch. So that's absolutely what he does. He does a take, and then the next one he does something completely different, and he gives it to the editor, and then the editor can make a film. So it's playful. You play a part, and so that's what I feel I learned from him.
Oh,
Hello there.
Hello. In the Sherlock, we know you as a king of the crime, but in the Stag or in the Pride, you show us completely different face. My question is, what kind of character you prefer, good one or bad one?
If I'm honest, it depends what I've been doing. For a few years, I played quite a lot of antagonistic characters, which is brilliant. They're great fun, but for now, I'm more interested in the more benign characters, the more gentle characters, just because I've been acting since I was a kid, and to me, the pleasure of it is to explore as many different parts of your personality as possible. So maybe in a few years I'll go back to villains, but for the moment I'm not going to play any more villains for another little while.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hi, first
Hi.
of all, I love you so much.
Thank you so
And
much.
I have two questions. First, how your family and friends react to your first role in first film?
Oh, how did my family react? They were pretty cool, actually. They were quite worried because, you know, being an actor is difficult and you don't get well paid and you're unemployed a lot of the time. But my first job was my first professional job. I did some kind of commercials and stuff when I was very small, when I was about 8 or 9. But I did a film when I was about 17, when I was still in school. Then I went to the Abbey Theatre when I was about 19. So I've been working for a long time. But they were pretty cool about it, you know. I think my parents understood that you got to do in life what makes you happy. Even though, you know, I didn't earn any money for a long time and it was difficult. Being an actor is hard. But I think what gives you joy in life is what's going to make you happy. So I feel very lucky that I've spent my life doing something that I really, really love doing, and I get to come to these extraordinary places and meet people like this. So I'm a very lucky fella.
And second, what's your tips to someone who wants to be an actor? What's your tips to someone who wants to be an actor?
If someone wants to be an actor, well, I would say go for it. I think trying to pursue being famous is a very bad idea because I've noticed, I know a lot of famous people and it's not the road to happiness, you know. So the thing for me that I like about being an actor is that you get to be lots of different people. So if you become too well known yourself, then it's harder to imagine the actor being all these different people because they know too much about your private life. So I would say it's to act anywhere, you know, whether it's on an amateur basis or just with your friends or in the theater or whatever you want to do. Just the simple pursuit of just pretending to be someone else is just fun. That's why I think cosplaying is brilliant, you know. I think it's so imaginative and creative, and it's a form of acting. And you know, when we're kids, we spend our whole time playing and pretending to be other people, and when we become adults, we just stop that because we think it's not sensible or whatever. But I think it's great to continue to be as playful as possible as an adult as well as being a kid.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks, Emil.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi there.
First of all, thank you for saying Polish and Irish are similar, because
Oh, well,
it's
yeah.
quite flattering.
Oh, well.
Although I have to say that out of all the nations that I've encountered, Irish are the most welcoming and
They're the
warmest
sexiest nation.
people in the world.
Yeah.
All right, now on to the question. Obviously, being an actor, you do a lot of reading of scripts and so on. But I wanted to ask about some books that you consider the most inspiring in your life.
Books.
Top one.
If I'm honest, the books that have had the most effect on me have been the books of Roald Dahl, because I think when you're a kid,
I love him.
yeah, and I think because he's a children's author, I think sometimes those books can be undervalued in a way. But I think he's one of the greatest writers of all time. I think his ability to understand and not patronize children is extraordinary. I always say my favorite book of all time is Danny, the Champion of the World, because I think it's just incredibly imaginative, and the range and variety of his work is, to me, extraordinary, and they're books that have stayed with me all my life. Also, he worked with an illustrator called Quentin Blake, who I'm very big into drawing and painting, and he was a very big influence on my life. So truthfully speaking, Roald Dahl is who I think of, along with Mr. Shakespeare as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
So I'm really glad that I'm here and I can talk to you.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
This question won't be about Sherlock. It will be about a short film called The Silent Things. and I want to ask how it was to play in this.
Yeah, the question is about a short film I did called Silent Things, which is a film about a man with Asperger's syndrome. Yeah, I really love that little film. I'm glad you've seen it. It's on YouTube, I think, but it's been watched by quite a lot of people. And my feeling about Asperger's, or anybody who's on the spectrum in any way, really is that there's a huge variety of people with autism. In the same way, there's a huge variety of people who don't have autism. So I think it's very wrong sometimes to think that there's only one form of autism, because there's a huge variety of personalities and abilities within the autistic community. So it was very important to me in that film to be able to represent that. I think one of the great things about people who I've met who have autism is that they have incredible passion, incredible recall for things that they're interested in. Yeah, I think the more I live on this planet, the more I realize that there's so many extraordinarily different types of people in the world, and to not judge a book by its cover. So yeah, I loved making that film, and I'm really grateful that you mentioned it.
I saw the trailer about the Hope Room.
Oh, the Hope Rooms? Yeah.
And how it was.
It was good. I'm not sure if that's out. Yeah, it's a film with Ciarán Hinds, who's a great Irish actor, and it's about a father and son. Yeah, I think that might be out soon. I'm not sure.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think also it's a good time for independent movies because of YouTube, the streaming services. It's easier for you as the creators to show your work.
Yeah, I really.
As you can see over here.
Yeah, I love the fact that Netflix and YouTube, things can last for years. That before on with VHS or DVD, it's hard to get a copy. So yeah, long live the internet.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Have you ever taken some good props from filming, or maybe any clothes or memorabilia things?
Have I ever taken any props from film sets?
Yes.
Yes.
And which one?
I've taken something probably from most. What happens a lot of the time is at the beginning, you love your costume. You think, oh, this is a great costume, I love it. And by the time you finish filming, you want to burn it because you've worn it every day for 6 months. You think, oh, get it away from me. And then sometimes they give away your costume for competitions and stuff. So I don't tend to keep the clothes anymore. Also, it would be really weird if I wore Moriarty's suits to like a wedding. People would think that was very strange. But yeah, I still have the James Bond notepaper that I send to James Bond fans, which is pretty cool. They had such a big budget on James Bond that there was I opened up a drawer in my office in this big swanky office on the set, and I had headed notepaper for my character C. So I was like, it wasn't even in the scene. I mean, I wasn't even supposed to open the drawer. So I just stole that, and I send that to fans whenever I can. So,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm a big fan of you.
Oh, thank you very much.
I wonder have you ever learned something interesting from a character? For example, Moriarty or Hamlet?
Yeah, I think you've got to learn something with every character. I actually think if you stop learning in life, I think you stop living. You know, I think you constantly. It's one of those things about success. I think sometimes becoming more successful kind of inhibit learning in a sense, because you think, oh, I've made it, and so the instinct sometimes is to just make more money or to become more famous or all that kind of stuff, and that's not how you keep developing as a human. So I always try and find something that that I haven't done before. This year I played Hamlet and I've just finished King Lear, and I'd never done any professional Shakespeare before. And if I'm honest, I was really intimidated by that because I thought, I can't do that because Shakespeare is for...
You did it pretty well.
Oh, thank you. But I worked really hard, and I tried to make it as contemporary as possible. And I learned a huge amount. And what I learned from that really is that Hamlet was written 400 years ago. And even though the language is slightly different, human psychology remains exactly the same. We're all...
I agree.
Yeah, right. And we're all scared of dying, and we all go through periods of grief and mental ill health. And it's amazing to me that art can exist for hundreds of years and it can still help us. So yeah, I hope to keep learning as long as I'm here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emil.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to see you here. And my question is whether in some sort of way you identify with the characters you play, and if so, how?
If I identify with characters that I play.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if there's something in common with all the characters, I try to look for the vulnerability in all characters, because I think that we're all quite vulnerable. None of us know for definite what's going to happen to us all. So we're all vulnerable. None of us knows everything. So even with the very powerful characters like Moriarty, or I think there has to be a certain degree of vulnerability to them, something that they hide and they're scared of. Because I think all human beings have something. Even the big dictators have some small fear within them, or some big fear. So yeah, I always feel that one's vulnerability is our biggest strength in life, and that we shouldn't be too afraid of saying that we don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And is it true for an actor that when you play the dark character, you always try to find the sweet spot for him, like make him more lovable, that he's not an asshole?
Yeah, not necessarily that he's to be lovable, because that's up to the people. People should really have a problem of some sort with the villain. But yeah, for me with Moriarty, I always feel that he's a very lonely character. I think Sherlock so much is about friendship. I think the central storyline, a love story if you want, is between the two central characters, Watson and Holmes. And they have each other as friends. But Moriarty doesn't have anybody. He's a totally isolated character. And that to me is interesting and relatable, because I think friendship is the nucleus of life.
Because I think the best character, dark character, is the one that you can find some compassion.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
This year I had the chance to see you in Hamlet, and it was absolutely amazing. So thank you for that.
Thanks very much.
And I have a question, because Hamlet is a person who's grieving, very depressed. And as an actor, what tools, what memories you used to play this character?
Yeah. Well, it's about grief. It's so much about grief. But if I'm honest, I think grief comes in lots of different forms. I think we can grieve a person that isn't around anymore. They don't have to be dead, but they can be gone. So I think you can use that, and I think about people that I love, and I imagine not having them around, or that kind of stuff. It's so much about your imagination, and yeah, the writing is so beautiful and so compassionate that it never really fails to have its effect on me. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have time only for 3 more questions. Sorry.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
And my question is there any character that you would like to play or kind of film that you would like to play in the future?
Is there any?
A kind of character that you would like to play or any kind of film that you would like to play in the future?
Yeah, I'd like to do some more romantic comedy. I feel like it's an underrated genre. I think well-written romantic comedy is brilliant. So yeah, that's something I'd like to do a bit more. I'd like to do more comedy, definitely, because I think anything without comedy is really boring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, hello. I'm so excited to be here. And I have a question because first of all, I admire your portrayal of Moriarty. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And I was wondering whether playing a role and you're so invested in it, does it actually affect your character at all? Like your personal character?
My own character?
Yes, I mean, not especially Moriarty, that's not it, but generally, as an actor, do you feel when you're playing a role for such a long time, does it affect you?
Yeah, with Hamlet this year, we did it 150 times. It was 4 hours long. We did it 8 times a week. It was really exhausting. It's a play about grief, and the stamina that was required was pretty exhausting. But I'm not one of those actors that I'm not a method actor or anything like that. So I don't know. I like to have a bit of a laugh and I mean, I work hard, but I think it's really important that the playfulness of any character remains, you know? So that before a take, I don't go really, really serious or anything like that. I kind of like to jump off into the deep end and just see what happens. Once you've done your work, I think that what's important then is to be as playful as possible. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you so much.
And the last question is...
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very
nice
fine.
suit.
I'm fine. Thank you. I'm female Moriarty, so you're the first person who probably noticed that. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Your performances are astonishing. And I wanted to ask if you could play any superhero or maybe a villain from a superhero franchise, who would it be?
If I could play a hero or a villain from...
Or a villain, yeah. I mean, you can choose.
I don't know. I think it's time we created new heroes and new villains. Keep the conversation going. I definitely like to play more heroes now.
So you don't have a dream like to play Batman or Superman, something like that?
No, they're already been played by people pretty well. There needs to be some new guys. I think it's important that we don't keep going over territory that we've covered before. I think that can be the death of creativity, and we can make new stuff. Some of you guys can write some new heroes and write some new villains, and so that we can all celebrate them here. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a million.
All right, so this is the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Big applause for our hero here.
Thank you.
Andrew Scott, everybody.